Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Honorable Speaker, Honorable Prime Minister, Leader of Opposition, Ministers, Assistant Ministers, Members of Parliament, and to all those watching and listening across our nation and abroad. Nisayandra Vinaka, Namaste, Assalamu Alaikum, and a very good morning. Mr. Speaker, today I present the findings of the Social Cohesion and Reconciliation SCORE Index Assessment for Fiji to this Honorable House. This comprehensive assessment provides vital insights into the state of Fiji's social fabric, with direct implications for our governance, social cohesion, and national development strategies. Fiji is a diverse, resilient, and deeply interconnected society. Our history encompasses periods of political upheaval, constitutional transformation, and social strain, as well as remarkable endurance, healing, and growth despite polarizing political narratives and intergenerational stereotyping. The coalition government recognizes the importance of moving beyond anecdotes and assumptions and is committed to shaping our policies and programs using credible, nationally representative evidence that reflects the reality of our people. It was in this spirit, Mr. Speaker, that government partnered with the United Nations to launch the Social Cohesion Program funded through the United Nations Secretary General's Peacebuilding Fund. Under the program, UNDP and its partners with government support implemented the SCORE Index assessment. The assessment sought to provide a rigorous, evidence-based understanding of how people across Fiji experience and perceive trust, inclusion, service delivery, human rights, and national identity, and how they view the capacity of our institutions and communities to address differences peacefully. The assessment was undertaken in the late 2025 through a collaborative partnership between the Center for Sustainable Peace and Democratic Development, SEED, an international organization with global expertise in evidence-based social cohesion analysis, and the Fiji National University, FNU. The assessment combines SEED's internationally recognized SCORE methodology with FNU's contextual knowledge and local research capacity, ensuring both methodological rigor and strong relevance to the nation and community context across Fiji. Honorable Speaker, the SCORE assessment measures perceptions and attitudes. It captures how people perceive and feel about trust, inclusion, leadership, democracy, and coexistence across ethnicities, provinces, gender and age groups, education levels, and socioeconomic backgrounds. Fiji SCORE assessment focused on three key social cohesion dimensions. One, intergroup social dynamics, examining intergroup trust, harmony, and tolerance, and shared national identity. Two, positive citizenship, measuring trust in institutions, support for democratic values, reconciliation, and human rights. And three, gender equality and social norms, assessing support for women's leadership, gender stereotypes, and violence against women and girls. It is important to emphasize that SCORE does not label, categorize, or stigmatize any group or community. It does not prescribe political positions. Instead, it provides a mirror, a structured reflection of lived experiences, perceptions, and attitude. SCORE is, therefore, a tool to support informed, responsible decision-making and social development planning at all levels. Mr. Speaker, the SCORE assessment presents a nuanced and balanced picture of social cohesion in Fiji, one that reflects both our strengths and areas requiring attention. Firstly, it indicates strong foundations of social cohesion, but with underlying strains. The findings show that there is generally a high level of trust and openness to peaceful coexistence and reconciliation among Fijians. For example, over 80% of Itoke and Indo-Fijians report trust and acceptance of other into their families and communities. This itself gives us much hope, Mr. Speaker. The assessment also shows there is a shared sense of national pride and attachment to Fiji and the Fijian identity across different communities. At the same time, the assessment identifies that we are operating in a climate where polarizing stories and harmful stereotypes still hold ground, threatening to pull us apart. For example, 49% of Itoke respondents believe that Indo-Fijians do not respect the Itoke way of life and culture. while 50% of Indo-Fijians believe Fiji's development would be stronger with more equal participation in politics and access to land. These narratives tend to gain traction when people perceive competition over resources and power, insecurity, exclusion, or unfair governance. Secondly, the assessment indicates that there is trust in institutions. The assessment indicates generally strong but varying levels of trust in public institutions and political leadership. While institutional legitimacy and support for democratic and multi-ethnic government is strong, there is weak attachment to democratic culture, including civic engagement, participation, and accountability. Thirdly, the results indicate strong pro-democracy sentiment. A majority of respondents, 59%, state that they prefer democratic governance, even if it involves negotiation, compromise, and delays. Furthermore, 72% express support for a democratic and multi-ethnic system of government, even when this may require sacrificing some interests of their own ethnic group. Together, these findings suggest a strong commitment to inclusive governance and pluralism, prioritizing democratic principles over narrow group interests. However, it is worrying, Mr. Speaker, to note that 40% of respondents agree to strong-arm leadership to achieve a goal. Fourth insight is about women's leadership. The assessment shows positive but uneven support for women's leadership. Support is particularly strong among young women, people in rural communities, and those with higher levels of education. For example, 81% of young women support women's political leadership, compared to 66% of young men. And in provinces such as Lau and Kandavu, over 85% of respondents endorse women as leaders. These findings should inspire us as members of parliament and political leaders to amplify positive examples and strengthen ways for women's leadership, including increasing the number of women represented in parliament. At the same time, the assessment reveals unacceptable levels of tolerance and acceptance of gender stereotypes and normalization of violence against women, particularly among young men. For example, over 70% of young men, 18 to 35 years, endorse beliefs and norms that normalize or justify violence against women under certain circumstances. 70%, Mr. Speaker. That is very concerning. Specifically, 31% believe that women who speak openly about abuse by their husbands should be shamed, and 22% believe women should tolerate violence to preserve family unity. These attitudes reflect the deep entrenchment of harmful gender norms and the social acceptance of coercion and silence, underscoring the urgent need for transformative, gender-responsive approaches and targeted engagement with young men to challenge norms, shift attitudes, and prevent violence. Implications for policy, governance, and politics? Mr. Speaker, the value of the SCORE assessment lies in how it informs actions. Strong social cohesion is not just a social good. It is a powerful enabler and accelerator of the Sustainable Development Goals, or SDGs, and in particular SDG 16, that promotes peaceful and inclusive societies for sustainable development. SDG 16 is a prerequisite for and an enabler of the entire 2030 agenda. And for us here in Fiji, the SCORE is necessary for our reset as a nation. The findings reinforce that social cohesion is not the responsibility of one ministry or one institution alone. It intersects across government machinery, civil society, faith groups, and community leadership. Our government will utilize SCORE findings to strengthen social cohesion as a whole of government mandate, continue to improve participatory governance and public consultation, and ensure development policies are inclusive and equitable. Mr. Speaker, social cohesion is a shared responsibility. This Honourable House has a critical role to play, not only through legislation and oversight, but through the example it sets in discourse, debate, and cooperation across differences, as His Excellency the President had shared in his opening address of this Parliament. As Fiji engages in critical democratic processes such as the Constitution review, it is important that political leadership uphold the spirit of dialogue, restraint, and inclusivity, ensuring that discussions on the Constitution become moments that reinforce trust in democracy and strengthen the bonds that hold our diverse society together. Mr. Speaker, if I may digress a little, a lot has been said about nationality after the submission of the Great Council of Chiefs to the Constitution Review Commission, albeit through media. Mr. Speaker, Great Council of Chiefs are leaders of their people from the 14 provinces, and I believe it is important to take the time to understand the perspective, their vision, their fears, and their hopes. We need genuine face-to-face dialogue. Such important conversation cannot be had across media. We have to remember that this issue has been central to each of our political upheaval over the past 4 decades, and it is important that we take the time to listen deeply and engage respectfully to build consensus. We cannot move Fiji forward if we cannot build consensus on national identity. This cannot be forced. It has to be agreed upon. Similarly, we have to create spaces to listen deeply to each community who call Fiji their home, understand their fears and hopes in genuine dialogue to move the nation forward. Mr. Speaker, as we learned at IPU, there are 144 active conflicts around the world, with tens of millions displaced in Africa, Asia, and in the Middle East. In South Sudan alone, where our officers serve to keep peace, more than 44 million people have been displaced. Global conflicts gives us a perspective of how precious our peace is. We need to guard our peace, Mr. Speaker, and we have it in us to truly build Fiji the way the world should be. Truly engage with our diversity and build sustainable peace from the trust that have already been established over generations. If the assessment has shown us anything, it is that Fiji's diversity is not a weakness, it is our strength. Our challenge is to ensure that every citizen feels seen, heard, and valued within the national story. Mr. Speaker, over the next 2 weeks, we will have the SEED consultants in Fiji running a series of discourse to share detailed data and have conversations that will guide further work. There will be workshops with youth, women, civil society, public engagements, and I invite members of the House and general public to engage and commit to building a more cohesive nation. Our coalition government remains firmly committed to building a Fiji where peaceful coexistence, mutual respect, and shared prosperity are not aspirations, but lived realities. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Before I take my seat, Mr. Speaker, I would like to ask the nation to pray for the police officer injured in line of duty last Friday and currently fighting for her life. Also, may I offer my deepest condolences to relatives of 5 lives lost in tragic house fire in Baloivunausori. Actually, 7 lives lost as 2 dogs also perished in that deadly blaze. I also offer our prayers for strength to those awaiting their loved ones missing in the Kandava waters. In such difficult times, may these families find peace and strength through our prayers and solidarity. Thank you for this time, Mr. Speaker.